Good Tuesday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, outside we go as we take a look outside that weather window, and this beautiful shot overlooking the Wenatchee Valley is just a few high wispy clouds out there today. But unlike our last few days, today kind of felt like fall, didn't it? With that light breeze and the cloud cover just a little bit chilly. Definitely jacket weather out there today. But we are talking parka weather as we get into the upcoming weekend, because we are in for some cold weather. Not so much today or on Thursday. Tomorrow will be kind of quiet, a little bit cooler for Thursday. And then the bottom drops out on Friday, as we will see valley snow here in the Wenatchee Valley, all over north central Washington, and temperatures very cold for this time of year, with high temperatures by this weekend only around 40 degrees. And we'll talk much more weather coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. The Lake Chelan School Districts has delayed the start of in-class instruction for second graders after a staff member who works with that grade tested positive for COVID-19. The Washington State Health Department warns of a full fall surge in COVID-19 infections. And 13th District State Representative Tom Dent says he's been living with COVID-19 for more than 2 weeks. But first, we begin tonight. A chimney fire at one of Leavenworth's best-known hotels briefly forced tenants from their rooms and shut down Highway 2 this morning. The fire broke out about 5:30 a.m. at the NZN Inn. No one was injured and the damage was minimal, but Chelan County Fire District 3 had to use its tallest ladder truck to reach that chimney, and traffic had to be diverted around the site for about an hour. Chief Kelly O'Brien said although guests had to leave their rooms, they were allowed to stay inside the building rather than stand outside in 50-degree temperatures. The Lake Chelan School Districts has delayed the start of in-class instruction for second graders after a staff member who works with that grade tested positive for COVID-19. The half-day in-person instruction was to have started today, but the district said yesterday that that's been pushed back now to November 9th. The school district said it's consulted with the epidemiologist at the Chelan Douglas Health District before making the decision to call off today's return to the classrooms. State health experts are warning of a new fall surge in coronavirus cases, and Washington's chief health officer, Dr. Kathy Lofi, says it's, quote, time to flatten the curve once again. The chief concern is in western Washington, where cases in King, Pierce, and Snohomish counties continue to trend sharply upward. Experts say cases are climbing not because of localized outbreaks, but because of widespread disease transmission. Facial masks and social distancing continue to be the recommended strategy when in public. Meanwhile, 13th District State Representative Tom Dent says he's been living with COVID-19 for more than 2 weeks. The Moses Lake Republican told Yakima radio station News Talk KIT yesterday that he was on day 15 since his diagnosis. Dent said he's had the full range of coronavirus symptoms. Last week, he canceled appearances at campaign forums in Ellensburg and Moses Lake due to his illness. He's now campaigning for re-election against Democratic challenger Eduardo Castaneda Diaz of Quincy, who says Dent may have endangered the public by carrying on public appearances earlier this month. Dent previously opposed steps taken by Governor Jay Inslee to combat the virus, including a mandate that agricultural growers create larger living areas for visiting orchard workers. Coming up next, Dr. Malcolm Butler's report to Chelan Douglas Health Board. The incidence rate of COVID is climbing here as well. Workers began driving sheet pilings into the Wenatchee River last week as part of the in-water work on the West Kashmir Bridge replacement project. And with the blessing of state health officials, Wenatchee's largest movie theater will reopen in just over 2 weeks. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Hi, Stephen DeVilbiss here, Branch Manager of Beneficial and Home Care. We are an equal opportunity employer and we do not discriminate in employment or services. It is our mission to maximize our clients' physical health and sense of mental well-being while remaining in the comfort of their home. We are currently seeking professional caregivers who share our mission to help our clients live safely and comfortably at home. Call Beneficial and Home Care. Schedule your interview today. 509-663-7900.
Traditional values and innovation in honoring the life of each family we serve is part of the ministry of Heritage Memorial Chapel. Our staff is committed to walk with your family with compassion through this time of grief. We are here to help and here to serve, the right kind of help when you need it most. Heritage Memorial Chapel.
Welcome back. In another news, Chelan and Douglas counties appear to be entering a new phase in the COVID-19 pandemic, with transmission rates increasing. That's the word from Dr. Malcolm Butler, the district's health officer, in a public health board meeting yesterday. Butler says although there have been no reports of COVID transmission within schools that have invited students back to classrooms, the rate of cases per 100,000 people has begun to climb again, now up over 170. That number needs to be 75 and preferably 25 before public health measures can begin to relax. Still, cases are down amongst people aged 60 to 80 who are considered most at risk of complications and death from the virus. 25 people in the two counties are known to have died from COVID-19 since March. Workers began driving sheet pilings into the Wenatchee River last week as part of the in-water work on the West Kashmere Bridge replacement project. The pilings are fitted together to form what's called a cofferdam near what will be the new bridge's center pier. The cofferdam will create a dry working area for the pier, which will go in about 50 feet below the river and be about 10 feet in diameter. The new $25.5 million bridge is the largest public works project in Chelan County history and is expected to be completed late next year. The 91-year-old bridge it is replacing was deemed structurally threatened. Well, with the blessing of state health officials, Wenatchee's largest movie theater will reopen in just over 2 weeks. Gateway Cinema says it's screening movies again starting on November 6th. Chelan and Douglas counties moved to phase 2 of the state reopening plan last week, and that allows 25% capacity in movie theaters with masking and social distancing in place. No word yet on what films will be on tap. The Fairchild Cinemas in Moses Lake says it's also expecting to open in early November, but hasn't yet set a date. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's feature story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Please stay with us.
Here's to 5 billion miles of amazing. 5 billion miles of...
This is so cool.
5 billion miles of helping you stay safe. 5 billion miles of passing the pump. 5 billion miles of... That's 5 billion miles driven around the world. The all-electric 2020 Nissan Leaf.
The extended range 2020 Leaf is now available at Town Nissan, right behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
Hope, oxygen to your soul, color in your world, a light to your future.
Difficult to qualify and quantify,
Yet you know when it's lacking.
So many things have promised us hope,
But have left us feeling hopeless and empty.
Real hope is able to stand firm even on the darkest day of the soul and still say with the prophet Jeremiah,
For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord.
plans to prosper you and not to harm you.
Plans to give you a hope and a future.
The Apostle Paul declared to a young church in Rome,
May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace.
as you trust in him.
so that you may overflow with hope.
By the power of the Holy Spirit.
If our God is a God of hope, then maybe it's your turn to experience a hope that cannot be shaken
or destroyed.
And maybe it's time to hope again.
Maybe it's time to become a generation of hope.
What if the same God that raised Christ Jesus from the dead
And resurrect your hope.
Maybe it's time to hope again.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Hopes for a COVID-19 vaccine are high as we head deeper into autumn, but how soon can we expect a magic bullet? In tonight's feature story, Congresswoman Kim Schreier, herself a pediatrician, recently interviewed Dr. Larry Corey with Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center in Seattle, who's deeply involved with the national push for a vaccine. You can find this full interview on her Facebook page. Dr. Corey says we should prepare to combat the virus without any chance of inoculation well into 2021.
I was wondering, given what we know about this approval process and the appropriate pauses and the scientific oversight and diligence, do you have any sense about when these vaccines might first be available and what is expected to be the order of priority, and when you think, based on that, I know this is a lot to ask, when do you think the population will essentially all have gotten a vaccine?
We designed the trials so that we felt that when it reached the 150 endpoints that we would have enough data to answer some of the main questions, which for me are, A, does it reduce medically complicated COVID? B, does it work in the epidemiological setting of our Black, Latinx, and tribal nations? Because they have had 3 times higher acquisition rates and 8 to 10 times higher hospitalization and mortality rates. And this is not genetic. This is due to the health disparities and the living conditions. So I would like to not have, I'll just publicly state, an emergency use approval until we answer the questions that we designed the trials for. And I think that is not going to be the end of November. It's going to be the end of December or early January. I think in that instance, the other aspect of it is the manufacturing of the vaccines is sort of on a scale up, and I don't think that there'll be that many doses. To the National Academy of Medicine, first group to get it are first responders and medical personnel, and that's about 3 to 5 million of us. Then after that is the elderly and everybody who has comorbidities, and that's 100 million people, which is 200 million doses. And I don't really think that's going to be ready till April. March or April. We may start vaccinating, in February, March period of time. And then after that is other people with other comorbidities. So some of it also depends on having these other vaccines licensed. And so getting these other vaccines through the pipeline is just as much to me a responsibility, and probably is where I'm spending most of my time.
Time now for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast, and boy, do we have big changes to tell you about. But first, let's head outdoors for a beautiful look at a beautiful fall day across North Central Washington. Just a few high wispy clouds, and we did see a few clouds just above the Cascades today. But all in all, a little cloudier at lunchtime and a little breezier, but it turned out to be a pretty nice afternoon. And what a beautiful shot looking down at the valley from our Wenatchee Heights Sky-Fi Tower camera. And today's high temperature right in the ballpark of where we should be for this time of year. Unofficially, 58 degrees. 59 is our normal high for this time of year. 39 is our normal low. And we were a few ticks above that this morning at 44 degrees. Sunrise this morning, 7:28. And the sun will go down tonight at 6:03. You can almost say it's going down this afternoon, and it will be that by the time we get into next week. But let's take a look now at what we can expect as we get into your Hump Day Wednesday. And things will begin to change just a little bit more as we get into Wednesday. But tomorrow, a lot like today, we'll see just slightly cooler temperatures, upper 50s, Moses Lake, Ephrata, and Quincy, 56 here in the Wenatchee area tomorrow, 53 in Leavenworth, and 56 as well for you folks in Eniat. But things really start to change as we put our surface loop in motion. We'll start with tonight as we usually do, and not much to tell you about as far as windy conditions go. We do have a bit of a ridge of high pressure over us right now, so mostly clear. It will be a little bit cooler tonight than we saw this morning. Our overnight low temperatures, so expect that. And then by Wednesday, a little bit breezy. We'll see a northwest wind 5 to 15 miles an hour. A few clouds around as well, but maybe mainly on the west side. Also, as I just mentioned, cooler temperatures for Wednesday. And then we cool down even more as we get into Thursday. This is where our weather really begins to change. We have high pressure out in the Pacific, but look at this deep trough of low pressure that's coming right through Montana and the Dakotas. And some of that cold air is going to spill over into eastern Washington. We have a chance for a 70% chance for rain mixed with snow all throughout the state as this area of low pressure pumps that moisture in, and along with the cold air that's coming down, the combination of both of those will kick off some snow showers on Friday. Don't expect a lot of accumulation. By Saturday, the snow will move away, but look at that, the cold weather will not. We will be unseasonably cold. We're talking 15 to 20 degrees below normal as we get into the upcoming weekend. If you have anything delicate out in your yard, you need to take care of that over the next couple of days. Sunday, sunny, cold temps. We will be well below normal. This is going to dip all the way down into Texas. Dallas, Texas, 38 degrees for a high temperature on Sunday. And then by Monday, not much change, except we'll see a little bit of sunshine for Monday. It will still be just unseasonably cold with high temperatures still only around that 40-degree mark. And the same goes for Monday as this cold air slides even farther south. Things will get a little bit better as we make our way into the mid and end of next week. But for Monday, once again, high temperatures, very, very chilly. Let's take a look now at your Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling 7-day forecast. 42 the overnight low tonight, 56 tomorrow and mostly sunny, 51 on Thursday. And you can see the trend. And look at that temperature drop from Thursday to Friday. 40 for our high temperature on Friday with a 70% chance for rain mixed with snow. I think that'll be mainly snow on Friday. For Saturday, a little more sun as we get into Saturday and the first part of next week, but look at those temperatures with highs only around 40 and the lows in the mid-20s. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
I have fiber at home because it allows me to do a great job in my profession. It allows me to learn things that I need to learn at home. It allows my kids to hopefully one day be able to be educated because of what they learned online and what they learned from their teachers. And it allows us to have fun too as a family. And we're able to do a lot of things because of fiber internet. I'm Rudy, and my family learns with fiber.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
Hi, my name is Blaine Johnson. I'm at Global Elite Motors. We're tied in with Global Car Care down here locally. So we're not your typical car buying experience. Somebody can come down here, take a look at what we have, and if we have the right vehicle for you, we'd be glad to help you out with it. A lot of times we are able to go out and find specific vehicles for somebody so that it fits their needs, their budget, and all the things that you want without you being obligated right away. If you're looking for a good, reliable car, come see me, Blaine Johnson, down at Global Elite Motors.
Downtown Manson is Washington's best-kept wine secret. With 2 locations in Manson, Radiance Winery is open to serve you all winter long. The winery, nestled in the hills of Manson, features ample outdoor space for families to enjoy a bonfire, s'mores, and their famous hot-spiced wine. The downtown location features the largest indoor tasting room around. In addition to handcraft artisan wines, Radiance Downtown offers draft beer, a tasty food menu, and a number of screens for live sports viewing. It's about time you had a taste of Manson.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Tuesday to you. Game 1 of the World Series is tonight and features the Tampa Bay Rays of the American League and Los Angeles Dodgers of the National League. And in keeping with the strange COVID world of 2020, every game of the Fall Classic will be played at a neutral site at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Now, unlike the regular season, fans will be allowed to attend. According to Major League Baseball, 11,500 seats have been made available for fans to attend. Now, tonight's game will feature pitchers who are both 2-1 in the postseason this year. Right-hander Tyler Glasnow gets the start for the Rays. He's coming off a 6-inning 4-run outing against the Astros in Game 4 of the American League Championship Series. His 25 strikeouts are 4th most in the 2020 playoffs. Meanwhile, lefty Clayton Kershaw will get the start for the Dodgers. He will be the 5th World Series start of his career and 6th appearance overall. In his Game 4 start of the NLCS against the Braves, Kershaw allowed 4 runs on 7 hits and 5+ innings. The game is underway right now if you want to watch it on Fox Sports. Well, wrapping up the weekend in the NFL on the Les Schwab scoreboard, Kyler Murray threw 2 touchdown passes and ran for another as the Arizona Cardinals blasted the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football. 38-10 the final. Dallas committed 4 turnovers, 2 fumbles by Ezekiel Elliott, and 2 interceptions thrown by Andy Dalton. The Cardinals' Kenyon Drake also rushed for 164 yards and scored twice. Arizona improved to 4-2 with the win, tied for second in the NFC with with the Rams behind Seattle, who is in first place. We'll talk more about that coming up. In a game earlier of the night at a rain-soaked evening in Buffalo, Kansas City came out on top of the Bills 26-17. Patrick Mahomes connected on 21 of 26 passes for 225 yards and a couple of touchdowns, both of which to Travis Kelce. The workhorse on the ground was rookie Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who rushed 26 times for 161 yards. It's the first time in Andy Reid's career that a team he coached rushed for more than 40 times in a game, 46 to be exact. Josh Allen was ineffective for the Bills, completing 14 of 27 passes for 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. The Bills were held to 206 yards of total offense. They dropped to 4-2. The Chiefs improved to 5-1. Well, the Seahawks are back at practice after the bye week. Coach Pete Carroll met with reporters on Monday with the big topic being about COVID and how his team was able to make it through without infections.
We tested all week long, and we stayed on the regimen of daily testing, and all of that worked out, just exactly like we would have hoped. That means that everybody continued to do right and take care of their off the field, family issues, whatever, where they live and how they take care of themselves. Everybody did a great job, coaches and administration as well as the players. All of that worked out great. Now we won't really know the results of this week till we get to the end of this week, as there's a lag time there. But everybody really is tuned in, and that discipline that it takes to continue to do that is what's going to carry us through as long as we can stay diligent about it, as we keep talking about it.
Carroll says because players had to test daily and stay near the practice facility rather than spreading out to all corners of the country, the time off was more like time on.
This was probably the most productive bye we've had because everybody was here, and they all, without having a lot of things that they could do on their own time, they spent a lot of time in here working out and taking care of themselves, getting the best treatment possible, and so it just seemed more connected than normal. I'm telling you, I don't remember going on the practice field after a bye with the guys all fired up like they were today. We're just out there, it's a regular bonus Monday for us to get back in action, start moving around, and they're all out there standing in line ready for stretching them out about over 5 minutes early. I don't know what the heck they were all fired up about, but they were jacked and ready to go. So they're kind of chomping at the bit to get back at it, and I think and it was also the first time that, you know, the guys kind of got in the same area, same place, and they just were kind of feeding off of one another. So it was a really good feeling today, and now we didn't execute as well as we needed to at practice, and that's why you have this practice, so the first day back isn't, you know, in the middle of the game week and all that. And so, but it was a very, very good response to coming out of this thing. We are healthier, and they feel better physically, and that was expressed today.
Of course, everybody wants to know about Jamal Adams. He's still a question mark for the game this weekend after suffering a groin injury several weeks ago. Monday's practice also marked the return of tight end Colby Parkinson. The rookie out of Stanford has been rehabbing surgery to address a Jones fracture in his foot sustained during a workout in June. Carroll says Parkinson was happy to be back out on the field.
Really, I took a good look at him watching him on the field today for the first time. He caught early in practice. He caught a flat route for about a gain of 2 and turned up and ran into the end zone just because he was so fired up to run. All the tight ends went down to go meet him in the end zone to just jump all around him and have some fun with him. So we're all looking forward to him being back out there. He's benefited enormously from the off-season program that he's been in. He looks stronger. He's more fit. He's pumped up. He's over 6'7", so he looks huge out there. So he had a good first day. He had a really good first day. We'll just see what happens. You know, see where it fits into the mix as we go. He's a really smart kid that's been studying like crazy, and I don't think it'll take him long to know his assignments and all that. But technique-wise and technically, he's going to have to show that he's come a long ways before we can figure if he can help us or not. But a real positive sign for today, and he was really excited. I came off the field with him, and he was just on cloud 9 to be back out playing football with his buddies. So pretty good.
Seahawks traveled to the desert on Sunday to face their first NFC West opponent this season in Arizona. The Cardinals flying high after last night's win over Dallas. While Seattle's off to its best start in franchise history. Kickoff is set for 1:05 at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. You can watch it on Fox. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Granstrom. Hey, don't forget, we've got that Candidates Forum coming up tomorrow night right here on the NCWLIFE channel from the Local Tel Event Center. We'll have that for you live at 6 o'clock tomorrow. And if you miss it tomorrow, we'll have it rebroadcast several times throughout the week and the weekend coming up right here on your local TV station. Grant, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Eric. And finally tonight, a dancer with deep roots in Wenatchee is now gracing the stage in Cincinnati. Jace Pauley joined the Cincinnati Ballet as a new dancer for their upcoming season. The Wenatchee native began his dance training with instructor Melissa Miller-Port at Fabulous Feet. Since then, he's performed with professional ballet companies in Atlanta and Oklahoma. The Cincinnati Ballet started its socially distanced 2020 dance season with outdoor performances in September. Now let's check in with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thanks, Grant. Join me tomorrow for another edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. All this week, we're profiling various Make a Difference Day projects, and tomorrow, it's our friends at Sustainable Wenatchee. They're going to be doing some cleaning up. We could all use a little cleaning up now and again. That's their project for Make a Difference Day. So we'll visit with our friends at Sustainable Wenatchee. Good to have them back on the program. Plus, we'll talk about the 116th edition of the World Series. And we'll have weather, and we'll have news, and I may even break out in song. Maybe not. Join me tomorrow for a Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, live and local at 7 a.m. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Dan. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.
Hello everyone, Dr. Glenn Hoey here, voted World's Best Medical Professional. The reason why is that we get to the root cause of the problems that concern you the most. So join us, call us today, 662-1302.
When you or your family's physical health is compromised and you need medical supplies, Value Plus Medical Supply is where you turn for solutions. All of our staff has a medical background assuring you the highest quality of customer service. Stop by Value Plus today.
What is it about Tipsy Canyon Winery that keeps people coming back?
Is it the magnificent view from the hillside tasting room? Is it the exceptional but affordable wines? Or is it just the fact that you feel right at home from the minute you walk through the door? Actually, it's all this and more. Experience the Tipsy Canyon Winery located just outside of Manson, your new home away from home.